Welcome once again to MARBELLA News and Views, and to Sandy, who's she's not got a hat on, and well, that's all right. I mean, it's obviously stopped raining, but she's looking in all her glory. Welcome again, Sandy.
Thank you, Rodney, and hello everybody. And just to say, yes, there's no hat today, and the reason is that the wounds are healing. So I've taken the chance of going to the hairdresser and having my hair done.
Yes, I've stopped beating her. This is the reason.
Ah, you're being good to me. It's only I'm so sweet and you love me so much.
Well, that's it. I mean, all I can say when I look at you, I think of dolphins. There's a link for you. Come on, bring us up to date with the dolphins.
Well, I found that suddenly they are saying that 11 dolphins have been found this year. And this happened a couple of years ago. This is the third time it's happened. And now there is the theory that maybe it is the submarines, it's their sonar system that is causing the dolphins not to know where they're going. And they come here instead of going with the other pack. So I don't know if that is correct. There is another theory that maybe there is a disease that they keep getting every few years. But I think that doesn't sound very good to me.
No, it's a bit contrived. Well, as long as it's not 5G. 5G gets blamed for everything.
Yeah, well, they didn't tell me it was 5G that got them into trouble. But it is a possibility that the sonar sounds screwed their heads up. And
you never know. Sounds a bit conspiratorial, but you never know.
No, I think that the conspiracy would be that there was a virus. Yeah. How can there be a virus every 2 or 3 years? No. So I think it's the sonar, but this is the last that we are talking about the dolphins, the whales, or anything that's coming from the sea to us.
Well, no, you never know what washes up on the beach. I mean, I believe you've got a brand new apartment and it's on a naturist beach. Now, it happens to be pebbles. How do you cope on a naturist beach? Do they not leave a lasting impression?
I'm not even going to answer that, Mr. You have just gone off key. Yes, I'm very close to a naturist beach. You're quite right. And lots of pebbles, but a lot of sand as well. Oh. And not called Sandy Beach, as you've been calling all the other beaches with the whales and the dolphins. This beach is called Costa Natura Beach because it was given the King's approval in 1979 to be a naturist beach.
Oh, right, okay. What does that mean? No litter, no dogs?
No litter, definitely on any of the beaches. You've got to clean up your own litter. Dogs are not allowed in the summer months. In the winter months, all the beaches you can take dogs along, but in the summer months, they've actually made special beaches. I think there's one in Elveria for dogs.
Yeah, so that's important actually, because the Mediterranean notionally has no tides, of course, but the nearer you get to the Strait of Gibraltar, some tides sneak in and you've got about a foot, sometimes a little bit more. Now in winter, the beaches are washed. In summer, when it's flat sea, they're not. So that's clever thinking actually. So look after yourself on the beach in summer and hopefully don't tread in anything.
No, the beaches, I've been going to the beaches along the coast, and really the summer months, they really are clean. And they've already started putting, from what I can see, extra sand on because of all the storms that we've had. It hasn't been piedra, it hasn't been stones, it's been big boulders. So a lot of sand is needed, and they started doing it, I think, in time for Easter. And Easter this year is the middle of April, it's very late. So we still could have extra bad weather taking sand away. I think that they're being too optimistic.
Yeah, don't mention bad weather. We mentioned that last time. It's the easterlies we dread, and we've had more than our, but it's gorgeous now. So there we go. We're not complaining. The wind's gone in the west.
Absolutely beautiful. The days are gorgeous and the nights aren't even that cold. And I left home today around about 8:30 this morning, and it was very pleasant.
Very good.
So,
Do you go for a swim on this naturist beach in winter, Sandy?
no, I don't swim in the winter because although I grew up on the Atlantic, which is very cold, because Cape Town is Atlantic, I still I would prefer the Mediterranean. And yes, as you have made this very public, and I'm not ashamed of it, yes, I've been a naturist since 1976.
Is that when they brought the red flags out on these beaches?
No, they have the green ones that say, come here, it's lovely. Everything is clean and beautiful. Maybe one day I'll invite you. If you're ever good, which probably will be never, I may invite you to come along to my apartment, which is near there, and I'll take you along the Costa Natura beach and see how you enjoy it. But you have got to have just a white flag, a white hanky, just to say, it's okay. I'm not causing any trouble, because, you know, there is a new beach bar, a very, very expensive, I'm not even going to mention the name because I'm not giving it publicity, that started here last year on the Costa Natura beach. And they are charging 500 euros for a bed, 900 euros for beds. Yes, you can close your mouth, and the beach beds.
How long for?
For the day. The ones that are on the beach, actually on the beach, are 50 euros, and you had to drink, I think it was 25 or 30 euros worth of drink during the day. And you know what they did to the naturist? And they're not naturist, and they know this is a proclaimed naturist beach. They have waiters, and everybody there is dressed. And when naturist people, including me, walked past there, they told us we can't walk past them because we've got no clothes on.
Oh my giddy aunt.
What about that?
Yes,
And
how to win friends and influence people. Listen, when I come down there,
yes,
can I bring my camera?
absolutely no cameras allowed.
Oh.
And if anybody is seen with their phone looking like they are taking a photograph, suddenly there is a police person here.
Well, it sounds very upmarket. I was going to say this beach bar, does it only serve vegan stuff and vegetarian stuff? Is it one of those?
I don't know what it serves, but all I can tell you is in the car park were Lamborghinis, Maseratis, Porsches. So, and the cost of the food, I think I saw a bill for over 1,000 euros.
Well, you're obviously in the right place. You've met your class of person down there.
Well, no, it's your class of person because you drive these very expensive cars and very expensive motorhomes. And I'm just this little girl who's a beach bum.
I'm lost for words. She gets me lost for words. I can't compete with this, but I'm going to move on because
you really got me this time. And I give back what I get.
That's it. Well, listen, Spain, we're talking about tourists with clothes and without clothes, and there's 52 million less of them this last year. That is mega because it's so much a part of the economy. The whole world comes to Spain. And with the restrictions on the pandemic, my goodness me, they've gone over the top, Sandy. So have many countries.
We have lost a lot of money, a lot of business. As we've said before, businesses have closed down and won't ever open again. And these are businesses that have been here for years and years. But you know where the business has gone? To your homeland, to England. People are staying in England because they don't want all the problems that they've had with the travel, not knowing if they can come, airlines closing or stopping the flights last minute, like the day before, or even on the day, and people are losing money. And then they're trying to get their money back from the airlines. And I don't know how far down the line APTA are as far as helping people. But you know what? I got the feeling that this year is going to be different. This year, people are going to start coming back, won't be in their droves because they're still apprehensive, but they will be coming back. And by the summer, August, I think it's going to be not the nicest of places to be, because the traffic is going to be horrendous. The restaurants are going to be jammed packed, but let people know that they are going to be asked for their passports, as I was when I went in last week to Dunn's stores in, where are they?
Fuengirola.
And I went in there for a cup of coffee with a girlfriend, Michelle, and she got the coffee. And then she came back to me and she said, they need to see your passport of your vacuna. So if they're asking, and I know that other stores are asking, and I know that restaurants, if they don't ask and see your passport, their fine is 10,000 euros.
Oh my giddy aunt. Maybe there's some overrun there with Southern Ireland, because Dunn's, of course, is the famous Irish store. And they're very, very keen, like the Aussies are, on the virus. OTT, some people say.
You may be right on that. I never thought of that, because it's not the store that I normally go into. I'm not usually in Fuengirola, but I was on my way back from Benalmádena and we stopped there for a coffee. But I believe it's happened also at El Corte Inglés. So that's very Spanish.
Well, if you can afford to go to Corte Inglés, then you've got to take your passport. In fact, if you can afford to go into Corte Inglés car park that they make you park and pay a fortune for. We mentioned it before, but we mention it again because it is outrageous.
We've cried about that before, and we're not going down that road today.
Okay, I'll tell you which road we're going down. And we've suffered from this, actually. There was a man choking in a restaurant in Malaga, apparently, but he was faking it. So the ambulance guys were called and they sussed him out straight away. He didn't want to pay his bill. He was playing doggo or deado and wanted to do a runner. My goodness me, I've not tried that. I'll try it.
Well, don't try it, because unfortunately that happened to me at a doctor's home recently. And I was there for lunch and I choked on the pudding. And it has caused no end of problems for me health-wise. I didn't have to pay the bill. So I wasn't running away as this man was doing, and it wasn't something that I was putting on. It's very serious to choke. And as long as people know what to do when you are choking. But I mentioned that last week about the olive oil. I had somebody from Israel, would you believe, phoned me and said to me, I watched the news and views with you and Rodney. This is the truth. And I have been chuckling over the story about the olive oil and the Japanese rubbing it on their bodies. And you, Sandy, were drinking a teaspoon a day. And I said, yes, I do. I start my day with olive oil. And this person said, we have been chuckling over it for days and days. And I found you and I had to phone and tell you. And this is the truth.
Well, bless them. And I don't suppose on this naturist beach, you can put olive oil all over you.
Of course you can. And when you come down here, I can put it all over you.
Oh my goodness me, she's at it again. Listen, I'm going to call for the fire brigade. And listen, the last thing you want to do is put olive oil on you, because that cooks you. You don't want that.
You know, years ago, in my childhood, when I was living in South Africa, we used to go to the beach, olive oil, and then squeeze lemons into it as well. So the olive oil and the lemon mixed together, it oiled your skin for burning, but it also dried it sufficiently that the olive oil worked. We came back really burnt.
Oh, there you go.
Very, very bad. No, today it is number 50 that we use.
Yes, you need the maximum for most times, especially in Spain. We get a tremendous amount of sun here, and it's intense sun. It's twice as much as you get in Britain. Britain goes up to about 6, and for about a week, 7. We get up to 11 down here. That needs sorting out. Be very careful. That's the maximum, I believe. But I don't know. I'm not a scientist, but the sun is higher here. It burns you.
What is 6, what is 7, and what is 11? I don't know.
Oh, they're UV levels, and you've got to be very careful. And in December and January, of course, they're very low. But for most of the year, they will burn you. So be careful.
Yes, I will be. But one little story. Do you know that what we did when we used to go to Mykonos, the blondes, I used to go with my 4 hairdressers who were all blonde, and I was as well. We used to rub and squeeze lemon onto our hair so that we didn't have to use any hair color while we were there for the 3 weeks.
Oh.
It kept it blonde all 3 weeks.
My goodness, this is all Greek to me. I don't understand. This is too technical. Listen, before we leave the story about the man faking it in the restaurant there, as you know, we are restaurateurs in UK, and we used to have quite a number of restaurants in Spain. And one of the restaurants particularly had a lot of various nations. It was up in Catalonia. We reckon 23 nations used to visit us. Easier there, of course, it's near the French border, and Italy, France, everything. But we got used to the runners, and I say this regretfully, and Mr. Macron is going to be particularly disappointed, not as disappointed as our Italian friends, but if anybody did a runner, I'm sorry to say it was usually the Italians and the French, and we had to be very careful. So actually, it's quite nice doing a choking job, I suppose, rather than a running job. Well, it wasn't the real choking. Nobody wants that. Right, we should move on, having got myself in trouble again.
Yes, what else have you got for me today?
Some good news. Marbella. Marbella is good news because Angela Munoz has got that place sorted out again. And it's been voted one of the top tourist places in Europe. Top 22 out of 400 combatants. And there we go. It's the only one in Spain that's been given this accolade. And why? Because it's the climate, of course, good sports facilities, good medical facilities. People go on charter flights to Marbella to get treated by dentists, doctors. It costs half the price and twice the results. So that's nice to have an accolade.
You were talking about people coming here for medical reasons, and the medical is inexpensive as compared to many other countries, and you can see a doctor immediately. You don't have to wait months and months and months. But there's also the most incredible helicopter and ambulance service that has been on the coast now for 30 years. And they are just absolutely wonderful, superb, and for €290 a year membership, you can get a doctor, a nurse, and a paramedic come to your home as many times in the year with no cost. You can go and see a doctor at their headquarters, at their hospital, a GP, no cost. That is quality, and that is such service, and they are just incredible.
Well, you know, we've been members there for a long time. Obviously, it's a no-brainer at that price. But you compare that with many countries in Europe, especially UK. Let's be honest, the NHS are in a terrible mess. And you even get texts regularly and adverts from, let's say, a urologist who's just come to a local clinic and obviously wants the business. You try and get a urologist or any cancer expert in Britain, it's almost impossible. Here they are advertising at half the price. We will see you today. My goodness me, what's Spain doing right, or what's Britain doing wrong?
What is the cost of one of those in the UK, a urologist?
A specialist, you're going to be paying a half decent one, I say, is £250.
Okay.
That's twice as much as you pay here in Spain.
You know, you laugh at me about being woman. You often call me woman, but I wanted to Helicopter Sanitarius was started by a woman 30 years ago.
It was.
And
she was only a teenager, wasn't she, when she started? She had this thought.
She's got a birthday this weekend, and I won't tell you how old she is, but she was very young, and she has built up this most incredible business. Yeah. So hats off to Maria Jose Cañete.
Yes, absolutely. Well, and talking about a woman, we've got a strange episode here recently of a woman being put in a case under the bed by her ex or partner or whatever they call them these days. And there she was, and the tip-off came, of course, when she fortunately took a mobile phone in with her when this horrible man stuck her in this case under the bed. I thought that was how you behaved with women. You know, it's handy having a woman under your bed in a suitcase, but no, apparently not. And
no, you're going to have them on top of the bed, in the bed with you.
You wouldn't think this was a family program. We started off with nudism, now we got to the other extreme. Anyway.
Excuse me, who started off with naturism? It's not nudism, it's naturism.
I just asked the question. Anyway, be that as it may, seriously, you know, this is a guy, well, on another planet. And as I say, she fortunately took the phone when she was packed away under the bed there in a case. And the police came, couldn't find her anywhere, but one of the police officers used a bit of that and thought, well, I think she's here somewhere. And he dialed her up on a number, and there the phone was ringing inside that. So he was caught red-handed. My goodness me, what sort of people are these?
I don't know, but I've got a very good tip for you about a mobile phone. If you're going to be somewhere, if you're going to be in the bathroom, if you're going to be in the bedroom, if an older person is living alone, my suggestion, and I've heard this from other people, leave a voicemail to say, I am home and I'm just going into the kitchen to make a cup of tea. So if people don't get a reply and can't find you, they know that you are at home and they need to go and find you in their kitchen.
Yeah, that's a good tip. I mean, a lot of people I know in Northern Europe have got these tabs around their neck, and they can grab and press them if they get stuck in the bath or whatever and can't get out. Then a lot of accidents and deaths are caused that way, people freezing to death. And it's a good tip.
It's a good tip. And going on, they were necklaces or buttons that you could put in another room. I bought that, and you know, I have got a spine problem, and I collapsed on the beach, and I got back to my apartment and I phoned the service, because you just press one knob and they say, yes, Miss Kay, how can we help you? And I said, well, I've just fallen. You know my history of spine, and I have just had surgery and I'm injured. And the doctor said, take 2 paracetamols. I said, but I need to see a doctor. And they said, just take 2 paracetamols. Well, an ambulance never came. Nobody ever came. The next day I phoned and I cancelled the service.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are problems. I'll tell you another problem we're coming across that's based in what's happened to the young people in Spain during the pandemic times. Now, 2 things here. Spain holds the record for people being unemployed. It's the highest in Europe. There are reasons for that, apart from the obvious, because most, that's not true, but a great part of the economy is based on tourism, and we all know what's happened there. But there is another reason. Well, literally 30% now I mean, overall, you're talking between 13 and 15% people unemployed. That is mega compared with the rest of Europe. The rest of Europe, 6.7%. So it's twice as bad at least. But 30% for the young people. A lot of young people are in the hosteleria restaurant business, and obviously they're affected when businesses are closed. But what's gone on for Spain for years, and when we had our restaurants here, we paid through the nose on one thing that you don't pay so magnificently in most countries, the Seguridad Social, the social security stamp that both employee and employer pay, but the employer's contribution, some cases, as nearly as much as a wage. It is ridiculous. And I'm not surprised that this is happening. There's still a lot of black economy going on where people are employed and no security, social security is paid. But you get fines like 10,000 euros if you find out, if the authorities find out about it. So be careful. But that is something that really needs addressing. And I guess that rate would really come down if they did.
Sure. It's very sad because it's really the kids who are affected, and also the older people who have semi-retired and they're taking this on. But you see, they don't get contracts. If they got a contract, then they would be covered. But if they don't have a contract, there's no security for them. And who is giving contracts today? You know, the pandemic has changed so much. The world is not what it used to be.
Nope.
Nowhere. But this is a very big percentage. But what's going to happen to them? Are they going to, from what I recall, and I could be wrong, you'd know this more than me, people who can't find work, the town hall, wherever they are based, used to be able to give them work as far as cleaning the streets, putting in the plants, watering the plants. So they were given so that they had some dignity.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is still being done now.
I think they do try and help the young people. The young people in Spain tend to be rather better behaved than some places in North Europe, I've got to say, because this sort of thing, if it happened in the UK, as an example, would produce a lot of discontentment and a lot of problems on the street. And it's tough here. They don't take prisoners here. You're only paid the paro, unemployment pay here, for 6 months, then you're out and you're hero. That focuses your mind to get a job. In England, of course, they'll pay you 70 and 80 pound a week for sitting at home with mum and dad. Why bother going out? Those are the two extremes. It's even worse, I understand, in Holland, where the unemployment for young people is twice what it is in Britain. So my goodness me, that is a challenge. But that being it as is, let's look at Spain. And let's get the young people in gainful employ. The schooling here generally is very good. They're well educated. They're ready for work. And it is important that we look after our young people. They are our future.
Absolutely. I feel very sorry for them because they're here at a bad time. You and I, or our age level, although there was the war and we were just after the war and things were difficult, we have still got the best of life. The kids today have really got a struggle because it's far more difficult to do things, just generally, and they don't have, there hasn't been a war for them to really know how to struggle. We knew after the war that you only had a little of this and a little of that. And we were very grateful for the little. The kids today expect a lot.
Well, yes, they maybe have got a lot. When Sandy, by the way, mentions the war, she's thinking of the First World War for her, Second World War for me, of course. We'll move on quickly.
I'm thinking of the Boer War because I was in Africa.
Well, you did. It was 1901. That takes you back. You remember that. Anyway.
So what But you know, next week is my birthday.
When?
Next week.
Oh, I shall remember to. Yeah, yes, I should remember that.
Don't forget, because
yes.
it's February, and I've got a little funny to tell you about February.
Tell me.
Did you know that in February, this February, there are 4 Sundays, 4 Mondays, 4 Tuesdays, 4 Wednesdays, 4 Thursdays, 4 Fridays, 4 Saturdays?
Oh.
Yes, in February, which is normally a short month.
Yes. Well, yeah, I'll be able to sleep tonight knowing that. I'm glad you told me that.
Well, I thought it would work in extremely well telling you about my birthday, and I wonder what I'm getting as a gift.
Yes.
I love birthdays.
I'm wondering what you're getting as a gift as well. But listen, I've got a word of advice to you and all our viewers, and that is as follows. When you unsubscribe on the internet, Tinternet, then you don't want to receive any more details, advertisements, or things from that particular website. Now, it's so easy in the rest of the world, not in Spain. They've gone GDPR mad. So normally you just click on unsubscribe and, you know, they might send you a couple and they warn you extra because it takes the computer that long. Rubbish. It's a pack of lies. They want to send you all they can before they get in trouble with the authorities. But at least you're unsubscribed. Spain, oh my goodness me. Why do you want to unsubscribe? You sometimes get that in other countries, but not having to fill in a form. We can't do this without you filling the form. Rubbish, packs of lies again. And eventually, and they blame GDPR, it's probably half true actually, then you have to fill in another form so that eventually they will, I don't know what they're doing, but it's practically impossible. It's dreadful. Beware of that. Is it worth, well, don't subscribe in the first place if you've got any doubts that you're not going to be, as we say in the north of England, mithered. There's a good word for you. Being pestered, that means whinging. There you go. You've learned something today. I've learned something.
Yeah, how do you spell that word?
I've not a clue, actually. I don't know. I think it's...
You know how to say it. You don't know how to spell it. Oh, Rodney, you are a one.
No, well, I think it's 2 words with an apostrophe. But I'll check on that. There we are. I just use it.
We'll leave that for next week.
Up north, lass, we do things like that. So beware of that one. Also beware if you're coming to Spain. We should have mentioned this before. There is a mega jam at the airports because if you come from UK, as an example, you are no longer kosher, and therefore you've got to be segregated. And they've not put enough people on, even though that 25% of visitors are UK residents. They've got to sort that one out, but be careful. The other thing to be careful about if you're flying in from any nation, each region has its own different laws. So you know some of the laws about testing, don't you?
Yes, well, the Spanish Ministry of Health has just announced that the COVID antigen detection tests for the entry to Spain must now take within 24 hours of travel. That's as much as I know. Oh,
right. Okay. They change every 5 minutes, Sandy. By the time people are listening to this program, it'll changed again. But listen, time's gone. We've got to go. We've got to go out on your favourite person. Sandy has got this at distance love affair with Mr. Djokovic. Why do you like him so much?
I don't like that man one bit, not at all. And I am so incensed that suddenly, after all the hoo-ha of Australia, now that our wonderful Nadal has won the tennis, suddenly Djokovic doesn't like the thought that he is now maybe not going to be number 2 because he certainly can't play in France. And it's doubtful that he can play in Spain, in America. He is now going to get an anti-vax. How about that?
Can be bought. There's only Abu Dhabi that he's going to let him in, I understand.
I think it is disgraceful, despicable, horrendous, and I've never been a fan of his, but I tell you, I've really gone way beyond not being a fan. But as this is a family program, I won't say any bad words, except Rafa Nadal, we love you.
Well, I said we come to the end, but let's quickly mention Alicante. Benidorm is the capital of tourism there. Well, particularly in Benidorm, a lot of the hotels, be careful, are not registered. At least 11 are not properly registered. Now, I have a little bit of sympathy being in the having been in the hosteleria trade in Spain. You've got to have that many papers. You cannot possibly get the right ones in the right order for 365 days a year. But some of them are being really naughty, and by being naughty, you can break health standards, etc. And there are a lot of hotels that are doing this, and it's not fair that the others are completing and obeying the law. In fact, they are talking about shutting them down. So before you go and book your hotel, if you're going through a reputable source to get flying in, including air tickets to that hotel, just check that they are fully registered. Your travel agent, whichever country you're from, will tell you. But desperation springs to mind. Maybe they're running out of money, and maybe they're cutting corners. Pandemic's produced a lot of bad things, Sandy.
Yes, it has. You wonder whether these hotels have not got the clearance for being COVID correct, or whether it is just a general health issue that their kitchens are not intact and they are not clean, and general health and housekeeping is no good. We don't know what it is, but I would say to people, do a little bit of homework. For the hotel that you're going to, why don't you just, on Google, you can check out everything. If you're not going through a travel agent, do your own homework. Check the hotel out, see the comments that people have been making. It's only 11 hotels. You will find them very easily when you see bad reports on hotels.
Yep, look at the comments. You're right. We've got to go. Time. This is Rodney Hart saying goodbye, and that's Sandy Beach over there saying goodbye. Thank you, Sandy.
No, it is not Sandy Beach, and she's not even a Sandy bitch. She is Sandy K. And I'm saying goodbye, and I will see you again. And I hope that you're in a much sweeter mood, because it'll be birthday week.
Well, it will. She takes all my best lines. Thank you, Sandy.
We're so welcome. And to all our viewers, I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. I don't know about himself, but I certainly have. Take care and see you next week. Bye-bye for now.